Just like having relevant and accurate information is necessary to make sound hiring and lending decisions, being engaged in our community is important. DataFax is proud to support the positives and be a sponsor of The Spark.
Since 1964, Memphis Theological Seminary has worked to equip men and women of all races and faiths with the spark to do ministry for the real world. We're grateful to serve our community and proud to support WKNO.
Lipscomb & Pitts Insurance has been serving the Mid-South since 1954. We've always focused on supporting our community and believed in promoting the positives, encouraging engagement, and leading by example. Lipscomb & Pitts is proud to be a presenting sponsor of The Spark.
Additional funding for The Spark is provided by Christian Brothers University, Mueller Industries, MyTown Movers, MyTown Roofing, MyTown Miracles, and by Serves.
This month on The Spark, our theme is a mission of nutrition. We'll learn more about an organization ministering to the physical, spiritual, and emotional needs of men, women, and families who are homeless, addicted, and in crisis, a group of do-gooders with bicycles and backpacks who are sharing love and feeding hundreds of homeless individuals each week, and a chain of restaurants serving gourmet dishes made fresh from family recipes that's giving back in big ways. We'll also share a special moment from our Spark Awards 2016. Ever been excited by a new idea? Inspired by watching someone lead by example? When we talk about creating change, we start by sharing the stories of everyday heroes who are making a difference in their own way so we can learn and do the same. This truth is the power behind this show, which is focused on business and community leaders who are leading by example to give back, fuel change, and create new opportunities for the Mid-South. I'm Jeremy Park, and this is The Spark. They're an organization ministering to the physical, spiritual, and emotional needs of men, women, and children here in the Mid-South who are homeless, addicted, or in crisis. I'm here with the president and CEO of Memphis Union Mission, Scott Bjork. Let's start, before we get to the history of the organization, let's start with some important statistics about homelessness here in the Mid-South. So give us some stats that stand out to you in terms of just how pervasive homelessness is here in Memphis.
Okay, Jeremy. On any typical day here in the Memphis metro area, there will be between 1,500 and 2,000 homeless individuals, served by a myriad of excellent service providers. It's been estimated that approximately 10% of that number will be unsheltered at any given time.
And I think one stat that stands out to me that's kind of unnerving is, was it 35% are under the age of 35, or it's a high number that are young?
Yes, it's an alarming number, and we've seen that number increase. We're also seeing the numbers of elderly increase as well. But I think there's some factors that contribute to that, and that is here I see a breakdown in many cases of the family. So we're seeing a younger and younger clientele.
And obviously that kind of steps into what you do with all the different services, but let's start with some history. So interesting, it was a philanthropist that kind of threw out the idea, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you had individuals joining up in the effort, and now here you are today. So give us a little bit of a snapshot of the history from Memphis Union Mission.
Well, back in 1945, T. Walker Lewis, who was that philanthropist, he was also a businessman, a well-known businessman here in Memphis. As he walked the downtown area, he became concerned about individuals that he saw on the street that had no place to go. And as you know, World War II was winding down. And so many of our great veterans were coming back. They were self-medicating. You know, today we talk about, crisis and all these things. So he was concerned about that. And he brought together a small group of businessmen here in Memphis, 17, of which expanded to 54. And in 1945, Memphis Union Mission was founded, over 70 plus years ago.
And so let's talk about what you do. So you have an emergency shelter, and that's grown tremendously in terms of the need, but obviously what you're doing there physically, even with the locations now. But talk about just the emergency shelter side.
Well, what we do at the emergency shelter is we take an individual who comes in off the street, someone who's homeless, someone who has nowhere to go. We provide for them food, clothing, and shelter. This is what we would call providing for those emergency needs. We try then to take that individual, sitting down with them, find out what are the fundamental reasons they're on the street. Perhaps it's an economic reason, perhaps there's some mental health issues involved. Sadly enough, today we see about 30+% of individuals coming through our doors who have some form of mental health issue. So we try to work with that individual. If they have a substance addiction, we try to move them into a recovery program.
Back to kind of statistics, you serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I mean, you're talking 300,000 plus meals.
That's
correct?
right.
Wow.
That's 365 days a year. But more importantly, when we have some of these weather extremes where the city, the county rely on us to provide services, we've seen as many as 466 individuals coming to us that we have served overnight and assisted them. So yes, we've just grown dramatically over the years.
Talk about some of the other programs. I think it's really interesting. You have rehabilitation programs that kind of go through Shelby Forest. You have another kind of apartment, so to speak, where families and mothers can live together for women, designed for them. That's kind of a year-long program. Talk about some of the other programs for Memphis Union Mission.
Well, Jeremy, we have a program called Calvary Colony, which is out by Shelby Forest. We have 160 acres there, where 46 men are in a long-term recovery program, meaning 6 months. So in other words, they'll start their initial phase downtown and then they'll go out there. We also have 5 3-bedroom homes that the mission built. We're able to house intact homeless families, mom, dad, kids. So that's another program that we operate. We have what we call Mariah House, which is a program for women and their children. These are women who need a long-term recovery program. And so we're also able to take their children with them. We have a program called the Opportunity Center. It's a drop-in center. We'll serve on average probably about 75 to 100 individuals a day that are coming in off of the street just for, to get out of the heat or to get out of the cold, to have some activities during the day. We also at that same facility have what we call an extended stay program. We have the Right Transitional House, which is where men who graduate from Calvary County can go and enter a transition program where they are employed, working, saving, paying off whatever baggage they may have to enable them to go successfully re-enter society.
So talk about ways we can help, because obviously there's financial contributions, volunteerism. I mean, to be able to do what you do takes a lot of volunteers. Expertise coming along for those that can do everything from help with resume writing, interviewing, all of those. So talk about ways we can help.
Well, I would say all of the above. We have approximately 1,000 volunteers a month that assist us in a myriad of different opportunities. Sometimes the beginning of that is to come down and just serve a meal at the mission, just kind of help our kitchen team. We served about 307,000 meals last year, so we're pretty good at that. But that's the beginning. I've had volunteers come and say, Scott, I don't want to just do that. What else can I do? And my favorite example is a guy that owned a number of laundromats. And I said, well, you've forgotten more about laundry than I know. Would you take a look at our laundry? And he came in and helped set up some new systems and things for us. So tell us what you do. Tell us what your expertise is. And we'd like to plug you in.
So tell us where we can go to learn more.
www.memphisunionmission.org.
Well, Scott, greatly appreciate all you do here in the Mid-South and appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeremy.
There are a group of do-gooders with bicycles and backpacks that are feeding the homeless here in the Mid-South. I'm here with the Executive Director for Urban Bicycle Food Ministry, Lyle Udell. And you're talking over 5 years of history now in the making, but give us a little bit of history for Urban Bicycle Food Ministry.
Thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate being here. In July of 2012, a student at Memphis Theological Seminary started what is now known as Urban Bicycle Food Ministry. And the beginnings of that were one Wednesday evening, he made 15 burritos on his kitchen stove, put them in his messenger bag, and rode from Midtown to downtown, and just thought he would look for people who looked like they needed a meal, or more importantly, friendship, and a moment of love. And he gave away all his burritos that night, and he got home and he realized that he had just had more or less a spiritual experience. And he had touched people in a way that he really hadn't expected to, and in turn he had been touched really deeply. And so the next Wednesday night, some friends joined him, and every night since then, back in July, it was 5 years that this has been going on. Additionally, we started doing a Saturday morning ride a few years back in 2014.
So it's every Wednesday night and it's every Saturday morning.
That's right.
And I want to backtrack a little bit because it's important. You've got burritos, hot dogs, things that are portable, so the volunteers can make those. So that's important, is the portability of it. But the other aspect is, on bicycle, it's the human relationship. So it's going in to where those who need it most are. So in other words, you're not expecting them to come to you. You're literally going to them and you're feeding them. So talk about kind of those two aspects, is the portability of the food and why that's important, and also the portability of the human to get to these individuals and helping them.
Absolutely. That's kind of the key of what we do. It's going out and seeking these people out. Soup kitchens are great and missions are great, but it sends a huge message that we actually go and seek these people out and find them in the alleyways or the streets or the park benches and whatnot. And I had one gentleman down in Fourth Bluff Park one night. He just looked at me as we were serving him, and he said, "Do you know why I love you?" And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because you find me. You come find me." And it's a huge message. And rolling up on a bicycle is a lot different than pulling up in a nice warm car in the wintertime, or you get out and you get in your nice warm car. On a bicycle, it's much more intimate. You're out there with them. Additionally, we ride in any kind of weather, regardless, cold, heat, rain, snow, whatever. And I think that sends a message too. All of our riders, and that's what I love about them, all our volunteers are so dedicated, our kitchen help and our riders, but it sends a huge message to our friends on the street when we roll up in the pouring rain, and find them in an alley.
So talk about the stats. Over 5 years in now, you've got some huge stats for just the numbers of burritos made and the number of volunteer hours. And so share some of the stats that stand out to you.
That's right. As of July, we were well over 80,000 burritos made.
80,000.
Yes. And this is all, because Tommy, listened to that little voice inside one night and said, "Okay, I'm going to do that." And this is the result. And I think we've calculated approximately 17,000 individual rider miles over the routes that we ride downtown and midtown. And most importantly, that equates into over 40,000 moments with our friends on the street where we are sharing love with them. And much more importantly than the meal, it's speaking to them about, our actions are speaking to them about how they are valued and they are loved and they're not forgotten, they're not thrown away.
So talk about how this works. We mentioned Wednesday night, Saturday morning, but the volunteers come together and they make the burritos and hot dogs and things that you're going to deliver, and then they go out. So talk about the process.
Sure. We meet at First United Methodist Church downtown, 2nd and Poplar, and they graciously let us use their kitchen to make all the food. And they lease a building to us that's right next door for nothing. And that's where we keep our supplies. And that's where we work out of and leave from there on the rides.
And so talk about how we can help. How can we get involved? I mean, obviously there's a volunteer component, serving. There's a financial side to underwrite the cost of the meals and what you do. So talk about ways we can help. Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, anyone is welcome to ride with us. Perfect for families.
It really is. It really is. And to cook, in the kitchen. We've got a limited space in the kitchen, so we can only have so many people there at a time. But it's a great family event too. We do want kids to be over 16, I believe, to cook hot surfaces and knives and whatnot. But and as far as finances, our future goal, the building that we work out of, we're working in unison with Room in the Inn Ministries and Iona Ministries, two other homeless-based ministries that work out of that building. And the vision is to turn that building into a day shelter where people can come in and get out of the heat, get out of the cold, where we can help them write resumes, where we can provide them a locker, a mailbox, that type of thing. And so it'll be quite a bit of money to renovate the building.
Talk about the website, social media. How can we help?
Urban Bicycle Food Ministry on Facebook, ubfm.org.
Well, greatly appreciate all you're doing. Definitely encourage not only individuals but families to be involved. It's a great volunteer experience. So, Lyle, thank you for all you're doing, for coming on the show and sharing.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Appreciate it.
The Spark Awards annually recognize and celebrate individuals and organizations that have made outstanding contributions to the community. This year's recipient of the Corporate Award for companies with 100 to 499 employees is Huey's Restaurants.
Huey's is a family restaurant business. We have 8 locations. We have 7 in the Memphis area and then 1 in South Haven, Mississippi. My father was Thomas Boggs, and he started working for Huey's probably back in 1975, and he just really believed in giving back to the community and really believed that if you took care of your employees and you took care of the community, then they would give back to you.
Talk about the frill picks, the toothpicks. I mean, you walk in, you see them in the ceiling, but there's a really great purpose behind it.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't aware of the frill pick contest, but we do a frill pick contest once a year with all 8 stores at different times. So someone back in the day thought it would be cute to take the frill pick out of the sandwich, put it in a plastic straw and blow up into the ceiling in hopes that it would stick in the ceiling. So now what we do is we encourage our bartenders and our servers to sell frill pick guesses to our customers. And then they guess how many frill picks are up in the ceiling for $1. It's a $1 donation. And then whoever guesses the closest amount of how many frill picks are up in the ceiling, then they win a $100 Huey's gift card.
And you've raised a lot of dollars doing this.
Yes, we have. We have raised probably close to $90,000 for the zoo.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And so beyond that, I mean, the thing that I love is that it's not just financially. I mean, you financially give to a lot of nonprofits, but you encourage your team to go out and volunteer to give back.
Absolutely. We couldn't do what we do without our employees and our managers. The frill pick is a great example. We just recently did a store-wide fundraiser for the VA Medical Center. It was a competition between all 8 stores. We ended up raising over $11,000 worth of shoes and snacks and eraser boards. They get so competitive, they're just so pumped up about it. They buy into it as much as we do, so it's amazing.
And you make it very easy. You donate obviously a lot of food, gift cards for schools, for organizations. Talk about kind of that relationship side of working with nonprofit.
We actually give away a lot of gift cards to nonprofit organizations for their silent auctions, for their fundraisers. We also buy like banner ads and stuff like that for schools. We are continuing to just try to do as much as we can, really. It really makes me proud that we've been able to continue to do what our dad wanted us to do, and that was to continue to give back to your community and your city. You know, employees really want to work for a company that are giving and want to make things better for other people in the city. And I'm really excited that we've been able to do that.
They're serving gourmet dishes made from scratch from family recipes. I'm here with the president and CEO of Holiday Ham Holdings, which owns Holiday Deli and Ham Company and Pimento's Kitchen and Market, Trey Jordan. So let's start with, you have a family history tied to this with you and your father. So give us a little bit of history for Holiday Ham Holdings, but more importantly, how that transitions to Holiday Deli and Ham Company and now Pimento's Kitchen and Market.
Absolutely. Well, 25 years ago, this year, we decided to get in business together, my dad and I. The reason we did is because we wanted to spend more time together. And with that, we started Holiday Ham and Turkey, which has had many evolutions over the years. And ultimately today is Holiday Deli and Ham Company and Pimento's Kitchen and Market. And so when we opened Holiday Deli and Ham Company, we had the goal of really being a competitor for honey baked ham. And as we grew, our customers said, give us more. We want more salads. We want more sandwiches. We want more of this. And so our menu has grown exponentially to what it is today.
And a big part of that is family recipes.
Absolutely. My dad's recipe is a pimento cheese. We sold over 80,000 pounds of pimento cheese last year.
Wow.
My mom's tuna salad recipe, it's just all family affair.
And a big part of the growth too is the customer service. And I mean, I'm a fan. I do the drive-through, and I also go in all the time. And they get to know you by name. It's all, like I said, family-friendly, wholesome
Right.
food. But talk about the customer service aspect and the core values.
Yeah. So the core values, we've really said that we have 4 core values, and it's to love our food. First, you got to love your food. You got to make sure it's right, and that coming from family recipes, that makes sense. We want to make sure everything that goes out is great, and then we love our team too. We want to love the people who work for us and treat them like family because they are family. We spend more time with them than anybody else, so we want to make sure that they have a great place to go to work every day. And then we want to love our guests, and we do that by the customer service. We want to make sure that we have raving fans customer service, and that's what we talk about in our quarterly reviews and some of our values. And then finally, love our city, and that is hugely important because for 25 years, the city has given to me and my family for this company, and so as a result, we want to give back.
And philanthropy is a big part. You use the restaurants and the food to be able to give back. I know that you do a number of different things in the restaurant, and your team goes out and serves as volunteers as well. Talk about what the philanthropy means and then how you go about that.
Right. So, it's really easy in the restaurant business to have folks coming to us and talking to us about their projects. And so it's a great venue for us to listen to and hear about what's going on in the city, some great new projects. We've been involved in Boys and Girls Clubs of Memphis. Andy Ray, our marketing director, listens to those folks who come in to give presentations about what we should be involved in. Southern Rains is another one that we've been involved with this year. But for 25 years, we have done a great job being involved in a lot of different things. In 2018, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to pick one organization and get really deep with them. And I think you're going to see a change of the guard, if you will, because we want to make an impact with a smaller organization that's making a big impact in Memphis.
When you look at the growth, and I want you to talk about where you're headed next, because Pimento's Kitchen and Market is a big step forward in that,
Right.
not just here in the Mid-South, but even beyond in terms of where the real vision is. Let's start there. Talk about the growth plans.
Yeah. So our goal is to really expand within 3 hours of Memphis at first. We have the Nashville market that we're looking at right now. We're looking at Little Rock, Arkansas. We're looking at Birmingham, Alabama, and then all the smaller the towns in between. Of course, we got to expand in our geographic area here in Memphis as well. But the really exciting thing is expanding on a national basis. We have this thing, our 4 core values are love, all those things, and we want to spread the love. And the way we're doing it this year really is pushing our 1-800 number, pushing our shipping hams all over the country. And we did that last year to some degree, but this year's going to be bigger and better than last year.
Well, because obviously, we're in prime season right now. You have
Right.
Thanksgiving, you got Christmas and the holidays coming up, New Year's. Share a little bit more on the shipping side, because I think this is, one, it makes it easy for families, but
Right.
2, is this is important for business.
Again, we kind of listen to our customers, and our customers are saying, hey, we get our great spiral slice honey glazed ham every year here in town. Can you send it to Nevada? Can you send it to Arkansas? Can you send it to Missouri? And so we began to do that. And so we're sending our hams, our turkeys, our cornbread dressing. The complete holiday dinner can go anywhere in the country now.
Back to the other, I said 2 parts, but the second is, what puts a smile on your face when you look at how far you've grown, 25 years, starting with your father, using
Right.
family recipes? What puts a smile on your face to look and see, okay, not only how much you've done, but what lies ahead?
I think making an impact with each individual. I think that's the most important thing. We built a great business, fine, but watching the smiling faces come in the store and watching the smiling faces who work behind the counter every day is what makes the biggest impact to me.
Talk about ways that the public can help grow both brands.
Well, obviously, one of the things you can do is come and help support us and encourage us as we're trying to become a place that is creating raving fans, creating a different work environment, creating a better place to be in the city of Memphis. Come send your best employees, send the people that your family and your friends to come work with us, because we want to have a place that we can provide better jobs and more jobs out there in the city of Memphis as well.
Tell us where we can find more information. How can we follow the conversations online?
So holidaydeli.com is our website, and then pimentos.com.
Make it easy, pimentos.com.
Yeah, And I tell you, the best way to do it is probably come to our East Memphis location. We've got one East Memphis, we've got one in Midtown, we've got one in Germantown, we've got one at Haxon Winchester, and the brand new one, Pimento's Kitchen, is at Poplar and Roughly Massey in front of the International Paper Towers.
Well, I absolutely love everything you're doing and I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeremy.
There's an old saying, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. That sentiment may be dated as romantic advice, but one thing is for sure, food brings people together. It nourishes the body, mind, and soul, and creates opportunities for us to build relationships and friendships. Memphis Union Mission provides breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day to feed the hungry. Then they're taking it further by providing shelter, clothing, medical care, and programs that help those who are homeless, addicted, or in crisis. Urban Bicycle Food Ministry brings volunteers together to make food that can be delivered with backpacks and bikes, and they're delivering the blessings direct to those most in need. Local restaurants like Pimento's Kitchen and Market and Holiday Deli and Ham Company are serving nutritious and delicious meals made from family recipes, and they're using their food in restaurants to give back as well. It's the power of food with a mission of nutrition for body, mind, and soul and community. Thank you for watching The Spark. To learn more about each of the guests, to watch past episodes, and share your stories of others leading by example, visit WKNO.org and click on the link for The Spark. We look forward to seeing you next month, and we hope that you'll join with us in creating a spark for the Mid-South.
Just like having relevant and accurate information is necessary to make sound hiring and lending decisions, being engaged in our community is important. DataFax is proud to support the positives and be a sponsor of The Spark.
Since 1964, Memphis Theological Seminary has worked to equip men and women of all races and faiths with the spark to do ministry for the real world. We're grateful to serve our community and proud to support WKNO.
Lipscomb & Pitts Insurance has been serving the Mid-South since 1954. We've always focused on supporting our community and believed in promoting the positives, encouraging engagement, and leading by example. Lipscomb & Pitts is proud to be a presenting sponsor of The Spark.
Is it 35% are under the age of 35, or it's a high number that are young?
Yes, it's an alarming number, and we've seen that number increase. We're also seeing the numbers of elderly increase as well. But I think there's some factors that contribute to that, and that is here I see a breakdown in many cases of the family. So we're seeing a younger and younger clientele.
And obviously that kind of steps into what you do with all the different services, but let's start with some history. So interesting, it was a philanthropist that kind of threw out the idea, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you had individuals joining up in the effort, and now here you are today. So give us a little bit of a snapshot of the history from Memphis Union Mission.
Well, back in 1945, T. Walker Lewis, who was that philanthropist, he was also a businessman, a well-known businessman here in Memphis. As he walked the downtown area, he became concerned about individuals that he saw on the street that had no place to go. And as you know, World War II was...
I'm Jeremy Park, and this is The Spark. They're an organization ministering to the physical, spiritual, and emotional needs of men, women, and children here in the Mid-South who are homeless, addicted, or in crisis. I'm here with the president and CEO of Memphis Union Mission, Scott Bjork. Let's start, before we get to the history of the organization, let's start with some important statistics about homelessness here in the Mid-South. So give us some stats that stand out to you in terms of just how pervasive homelessness is here in Memphis.
Okay, Jeremy. On any typical day here in the Memphis metro area, there will be between 1,500 and 2,000 homeless individuals, served by a myriad of excellent service providers. It's been estimated that approximately 10% of that number will be unsheltered at any given time.
And I think one stat that stands out to me that's kind of unnerving is...
Just like having relevant and accurate information is necessary to make sound hiring and lending decisions, being engaged in our community is important. DataFax is proud to support the positives and be a sponsor of The Spark.
Since 1964, Memphis Theological Seminary has worked to equip men and women of all races and faith with the spark to do ministry for the real world. We're grateful to serve our community and proud to support WKNO.
Lipscomb and Pitts Insurance has been serving the Mid-South since 1954. We've always focused on supporting our community and believed in promoting the positives, encouraging engagement, and leading by example. Lipscomb and Pitts is proud to be a presenting sponsor of the Spark.
Additional funding for the Spark is provided by Christian Brothers University, Mueller Industries, MyTown Movers, MyTown Roofing, MyTown Miracles.
Winding down. And so many of our great veterans were coming back. They were self-medicating. You know, today we talk about, crisis and all these things. So he was concerned about that. And he brought together a small group of businessmen here in Memphis, 17, of which expanded to 54. And in 1945, Memphis Union Mission was founded, over 70 plus years ago.
And so let's talk about what you do. So you have an emergency shelter, and that's grown tremendously in terms of the need, but obviously what you're doing there physically, even with the locations now. But talk about just the emergency shelter side.
Well, what we do at the emergency shelter is we take an individual who comes in off the street, someone who's homeless, someone who has nowhere to go. We provide for them food, clothing, and shelter. This is what we would call providing for those emergencies.
And by Serves.
This month on The Spark, our theme is a mission of nutrition. We'll learn more about an organization ministering to the physical, spiritual, and emotional needs of men, women, and families who are homeless, addicted, and in crisis, a group of do-gooders with bicycles and backpacks who are sharing love and feeding hundreds of homeless individuals each week, and a chain of restaurants serving gourmet dishes made fresh from family recipes that's giving back in big ways. We'll also share a special moment from our Spark Awards 2016. Ever been excited by a new idea? Inspired by watching someone lead by example? When we talk about creating change, we start by sharing the stories of everyday heroes making a difference in their own way so we can learn and do the same. This truth is the power behind this show, which is focused on business and community leaders who are leading by example to give back, fuel change, and create new opportunities for the Mid-South.